So it's not every day that you wake up, you look at the news, and then you see a headline that says, "We are not medical experiments," coming from a U.S. ally, a NATO ally specifically. We're talking about Greenland. We're going to get straight to that here in a moment. I also am going to touch on Cuba. They are also lambasting the U.S., basically saying, hey, if you try to do any military action against us, it is going to be a bloodbath. So we're going to touch on that as well in a moment. Overall, just a continuation of the theme of the U.S. just being a schizophrenic, bloodthirsty, warmongering nation. All right, and this is from The Guardian. Greenlanders are not experimental subjects, says minister as she decries U.S. doctor's visit. Greenland's government has criticized the arrival of a U.S. doctor in Nuuk alongside Donald Trump's special envoy, Jeff Landry, saying that Greenlanders are not experimental subjects. Joseph Griffin said he had joined the delegation as a volunteer to assess the medical needs of the Arctic island, which the U.S. president has repeatedly threatened to invade. Greenland's Health Minister Anna Wangenheim immediately condemned his presence, describing it as deeply problematic. Greenlanders are not experimental subjects in a geopolitical project. Our healthcare system must be developed through respectful cooperation and Greenlandic self-determination, not through political envoys with hidden strategic interest. Greenlandic Prime Minister Jens Frederik Nielsen also criticized the doctor's presence. He said, if you want to learn about health conditions in Greenland, you have to contact Greenland through the right channels, he said. So yeah, we're just sending a doctor over there just to assess the health situation of Greenland. Well, I can tell you, they at least, as being a territory of Denmark, they at least have free healthcare. I can tell you that much. I wish we had that. But yeah, it's and you're going to see why they're like so sensitive about this because of the past, not us, but unfortunately, the indigenous people to Greenland have been victim to medical experiments before. So Griffin's presence in Greenland appears to be the latest U.S. attempt to intervene in the island's healthcare system after Trump said in February that a hospital ship was on its way. And yeah, they obviously refused this. Luckily, it never came, but that was such a weird thing. Like, I don't like, just the way we're acting is so strange, and Greenland has every right to be concerned with how we've been just treating them, what we've been saying about them. Anyways, Nielsen said the meeting with Howery and Landry had been conducted with mutual respect and in a good tone, but the Greenlandic government had made it clear their land was not for sale. Healthcare is a particularly sensitive subject in Greenland after Danish doctors' past abuses of the local people. So this is why they're sensitive. Thousands of women and girls, some as young as 12, were fitted with IUDs without their knowledge or consent between 1966 and 1970 in an apparent attempt to reduce Greenland's population. So basically, like genocide, like at least very minimum ethnic cleansing of Greenland. So when the U.S. is sitting here oh, we're going to just send this random hospital ship to your shores for no reason against your consent, even though you didn't ask for it, you said multiple times you don't want it, or we're going to send this doctor with our envoy to assess the health situation, and that's coming from a nation who has repeatedly threatened to invade them over the past year and a half. Like, call me crazy, but I don't think they're overreacting here. Anyways, now let's move on to Cuba, another country that we are bullying for absolutely no reason. Cuba's president warns of bloodbath if U.S. takes military action. Cuban President Miguel Díaz-Canel warned Monday that a U.S. military assault on Cuba will cause a bloodbath with incalculable consequences amid renewed tension between Havana and Washington. They also, now the State Department of the U.S. is trying to accuse the Cubans of buying 300 drones from Russia or Iran or something like that. Absolutely crazy. Definitely a pretense to be yeah, they're a threat. We need to attack them and destroy them now. Cuba possesses no threat, nor does it have aggressive plans or intentions against any country. It has none against the U.S., nor has it ever had any, something the government of that nation knows well, the leader said in a post on X. He also added, Cuba is already suffering a multidimensional aggression from the U.S. and that it has the absolute legitimate right to defend itself against a military assault, though he maintained that this cannot logically or honestly be used as an excuse to impose a war against the noble Cuban people. Absolutely right. Cuba, just like Iran, has every single right to defend themselves. Let's be crystal clear about that. Because in both these situations, despite what you say domestically, even though especially from Cuba, a lot of what we say that goes on domestically is just flat out a lie. I'm not saying it's all sunshine and rainbows, but you just got to understand we are the bad guys here, and it's not even close. Anyways, on Monday, the Trump administration announced new sanctions on the Cuban government, including its main intelligence agency and Interior Ministry. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said in a statement that additional sanctions can be expected in the following days or week. Man, like, we just do cruelty just to do it. Like, we are comic book villain evil. Like, we just do things to just straight up because, like, we're evil. Like, that's the point. Like, it's so... Wow. It genuinely breaks my heart. Like, when anytime I have to cover Cuba, because I feel so bad for the Cuban people. Another blow to the island came Sunday when Reuters reported that major shipping companies Hapag-Lloyd and CMA CGM will no longer ship to or from Cuba to apply with new Trump administration rules. CNN has reached out to both companies. The move will likely add to food security. It will add to food scarcity on the island. For decades, the collapse of Cuba's agricultural sector and economic mismanagement has meant the government has imported much of the food the island consumes. Even items like sugar, coffee, and tobacco that the island once produced in large quantities are now being imported. So I have economic mismanagement here because, like, this is CNN trying to add a little bit of sane washing. Like, oh yeah, you got to understand. Cuba is under collapse or under economic and agricultural collapse, not because of the U.S. sanctions, not because of the U.S. embargo, not because of the decades of U.S. intervention, coup attempts. I'm pretty sure at one point it was either a pesticide or like an invasive like bug species that we dropped on their fields to decimate their agriculture. No. Let's ignore all that. Their problems come from economic mismanagement. Shame on you, CNN. Shame on you. Like, what do you mean economic mismanagement? Are you crazy? Like, there is not a single country in the world that could survive this kind of embargo. And you could say, oh, North Korea. Yeah, the only reason North Korea is surviving is because they are close to China. They are close to Russia, two countries that they can trade and actually have some access to the world economy through. Cuba, on the other hand, they're right in their butt cheeks. Countries can't easily reach them to give them aid. Just sick what we're doing, man. Foreign Minister Bruno Rodriguez said on Monday on X that Cuba has the right to legitimate self-defense against any external aggression. Absolutely. In anticipation of such a scenario, over the past few days, Cuba's civil defense has circulated a family guide on how to act during a hypothetical military aggression against Cuba, recommending, among other things, preparing a backpack with non-perishable items. The guide urges people to stay alert to air raid sirens and is titled Protect, Resist, Survive, and Prevail. Just this whole ordeal with Cuba is depressing. This is a country that didn't attack us, wasn't going to attack us, and it doesn't pose any threat to us in the first place. A country that we have economically starved for decades. We have cut them off from the world economy for decades, world trade for decades, and despite that, they managed to accomplish so much like good despite that. They were able to create a lung cancer vaccine that not even we have access to. They were able to create their own COVID vaccine and even export it to other countries that weren't able to receive ours. They have sent medical missions to help other countries all around the world. They are still able to guarantee healthcare and housing and food to all their citizens. Now, that's a sticky situation now because they don't have resources to go around. And, of course, the people who live there are angry. They attribute it to the government. But at the end of the day, when you can't do any trade or any business with any country, you're just a tiny island nation, it's very hard to get by. Okay. if you think that any of Cuba's problems stem from communism, or that you think that there's some extremely oppressive regime, I beg you to do some more reading and digging past what the State Department says. Like, go actually watch like documentaries and videos of like of people going to Cuba and talking to the Cuban people. Don't listen to the diaspora freaking living in Miami, Florida. It's just, yeah, it's sick. Anyways, let me know what you think in the comment section down below, and I will see you in the next one. If you made it to this point in the video, I just want to give a special thank you. If you enjoyed it, please hit that like button down below, and if you really enjoyed it, maybe consider hitting that subscribe button while you're down there. I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section. I will try to reply to any and all comments that I can. Until next time, watch that video on screen.